Don't let the man across from you fool you. Doubt is your real enemy. No, it won't be the GOAT and the gunslinger. The NFC title game will instead feature a pair of quarterbacks called into question at every turn of their careers. They said your stats were hollow, even drafted the guy to take your job. Doubt be damned. You're here for a reason.
1, 2, 3.
The Niners and the Rams will offer up a third installment on Sunday for the right to represent the conference in Super Bowl 56. For San Francisco, a road warrior mentality that began in this very building 3 weeks ago. LA to Dallas. Dallas to the Tundra. A bruising brand of football that poses its opponents with a simple question. How bad do you want it?
Our team's been through so many different situations this year that I feel like we never overreact to anything. Our guys just never waver.
For LA, the chance to address the question, one they haven't had an answer to since 2018. In the battle of boy geniuses, it's advantage Shanahan.
We got to get ready for a team that we know has been a really tough matchup for us. They've done an outstanding job, and it's going to be a great game.
But what is past is not prologue. This another opportunity to take back your building, one overrun by scarlet and gold time and again.
It was a tough environment for us to communicate in, really, the whole second half.
Now is the time to block out the noise and make a bit of your own.
Niners!
Appropriate that careers will be defined in the place where anybody can be somebody. The same place a champion will be crowned just 2 weeks later. This Sunday, a chance to pry the pen out of the hand of your critics and write your own legacy. So check your doubt at the door. It's winning time in the NFC title game.
Joe Musso piece has us ready to play in the game. 49ers and Rams from SoFi Stadium. Rams trying to keep 49ers fans out. We'll see how it looks on Sunday night. The Rams are the favorites, 3.5-point favorites at home. Yes, you look at them as the better team. No, they have not beaten the 49ers in years. San Francisco's won 6 straight.
The Rams, though, have the feel of a team very similar last year that won the Super Bowl, and that's the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're a team that obviously went all in, getting Tom Brady, bringing in Gronk, the other pieces to formulate that team. But they're a team who got hot really in the latter portions of the season. That's what we saw from the Los Angeles Rams. They've got a quarterback now who's obviously new to this team, but he's playing with a ton of confidence. He hasn't turned over the football. And with a team of stars, they are all playing like it right now. The addition of Von Miller, Odell Beckham, all these guys are stepping up in the spotlight, Pete. And I know history tells a different story with this matchup in particular. I think this is the turning of the tide. And so I'm going to go ahead. I hate the 3.5. I hate the hook here, but I'm going to lay it because I think the Rams are going to take care of business in this one. And I honestly don't even know if it's going to be that close when it's all said and done.
Boy, I tell you what, I know they're all in. I know they have the more talent is on that side of the ball, I would think, on that sideline, I should say. But this reminds me of something that I watched firsthand in 1999. It's the last time a team beat a team twice in the regular season and then went to their place and beat them in the championship game. That was the Jacksonville Jaguars losing to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans were the more physical, tough team. The Jaguars were the glitzy, high-scoring, fun team to watch. And the nasty team went in there and dominated that game. And I think that's going to be, I don't know if they're going to dominate the game here, but they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. The 49ers defensive line, the last time they played in Week 18, and remember, that Rams line in Week 18 was the spinning tops of the week. They dominated them. They pushed them around. And they've been on a run through the playoffs, just dominated the Cowboys' offensive line. Last week, the Packers, who had been pretty good in protection.
They dominated them, but they did the job. They
Five sacks in both
games.
games.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
look,
dominant, Brady. That's dominant. 5 sacks.
9 sacks through the more physical. It still didn't equate to a win.
5 sacks in each game is dominating. They've been on a run, and I think they're going to be able to stop the run. I think they're going to get after Matt Stafford, and the 49ers aren't just going to cover this game. They're going to the Super Bowl. The 49ers are going to win the game. I don't even need the points. This is one of those gems. I always pick one out a week where you don't need the point. This is it.
I love this because we're on opposite sides. So after Pete loses this one, I will then be ahead by one heading into the Super Bowl if I win both picks this week. So
correct.
Yes.
I love where this is at right now. I really do. As far as our pick show, I'm glad it came to the accumulation now in championship weekend.
It's amazing how Kyle Shanahan has owned Sean McVay. He's won the last 6.
Yeah.
Last 6.
Last 6, man.
He's in his head. There's no doubt he's in his head. And I don't know why that is. What's the reason? The Rams like to run. They're a physical team. They want to run the ball. Their offense is predicated off the run. They're usually kind of mirror images. What's the problem?
Well, no, I think it's the creativity, and I think it's people underestimating how good of a play caller and schematically Kyle Shanahan is, Mike McDaniel, the rest on his offensive staff. I mean, when you think about what makes, at least in my opinion, the best head coaches, it's when they put their players in a position to win. We always think about that when we think about star players, guys like a Deebo Samuel, for example, who, yeah, he's that wide receiver, but they'll put him anywhere, and they put him in the backfield to run the football. But when you look at what he did with Trent Williams in situations last week, when you take your best offensive lineman, maybe the best left tackle in the league, you take him off the ball, you motion him across on an outside run play where you don't need him back at that backside left tackle. You could put in a backup and have him try to do backside cutoff because it doesn't really require much. What you need is someone who's going to blow up the front side. And that's what Trent Williams did. Deebo Samuel gets the ball. He carries up from there.
It worked the second time.
But the first time it did. And that's what I'm saying is that's the sort of creativity that you get from him that you don't always get from play callers. They're scared to maybe do that, but he puts Trent Williams in a position to help his team, and he knows he's one of his best players. That's the sort of stuff I'm talking about, though. And you can say, oh, it didn't work the second time. It only needs to work once.
Right.
And that
was work in a key situation the second time.
That was the margin of difference.
He went back to it.
That's when Pete tweets, stop being cute, play football.
Well, and then he dials something up for George Kittle off a stack of linemen, where he sets up the defender, gets some leverage, and there's a big play. So
football.
Pete can say whatever he wants.
Play football.
He has never been in those meeting rooms. No. What Kyle Shanahan does.
You haven't been in his meeting rooms either.
I've been in quarterback meeting rooms.
But you haven't
I've
been in his meeting rooms. You haven't been in his meeting rooms.
Well, I've sat with him in a production meeting and so watched film with them and talked about it.
But you haven't been in his meeting room.
And so I can tell you firsthand, when you talk to Jimmy Garoppolo, when you talk to some of those guys who are within that offense, they love the different things that he does with little wrinkles each week. That's why I think he's had an advantage over the past 6 matchups between these two teams. I think this week, though, it's just going to be different. This is a Rams team on a roll. They're playing at home. I don't know what sort of advantage that's going to give them, given the ticket sales and everything else, but it will play a factor in this game.
You know, the fact that these two are meeting again, a buddy of mine reminded me years ago, and this is how long ago this was, the Rams used to beat the 49ers in Candlestick all the time. And one of my great leads before a playoff game was Rice be nimble, Montana be quick, but the Rams on the 49ers at Candlestick. A buddy of mine said, you going to come up with something for this week? I couldn't think of anything. SoFi?
Couldn't find anything to rhyme with SoFi?
I could. If I gave it enough time, I could. But, yeah. Isn't it funny, though? Certain teams have dominated little runs in this series, and now it's been the 49ers. I just think they're a charm team right now. Every year we get the charm team. And again, I go back to what Sean Payton told me
last year.
Sean Payton said this in the beginning of the playoffs. He said, in the beginning of the season, he told me, he said, look, you might be better off getting on a run than sitting back and playing a game or two. Get on a run and go.
They won last week because they had a blocked punt in the final minutes of the game, recovered for a touchdown. So I know you've talked about the defense, right? How is Jimmy Garoppolo going to score enough points for this team to help them win?
You know, we're all sitting and we'll criticize Jimmy Garoppolo when he made a bonehead play on the goal line. It was a terrible decision. But what about the laser throw he threw into the middle of the field to Kittle that would have walked in for a touchdown that he dropped early in the game? I mean, those are the tone setters. You got to catch that if you're Kittle. And if you look at the tape of that, he walks in. It's right up the middle of the field. There's nobody there. And yet nobody said anything about nice throw, Jimmy, nice read, get the ball to him. It's all because he made the bad play. And Jimmy Garoppolo is not a great quarterback. He will make bad plays.
Well, I think that's the difference. It's in the other quarterbacks that are left. We all think they're great. Like Joe Burrow's going to be great. Maybe already is great. Garoppolo's he's not top 10. He might not be top 15 or even top 20. I don't know. He can win.
And the 49ers probably don't want him back next year. But is Matt Stafford great?
I mean, I would take him ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo to go out there and win me a game.
But is he great?
I would ask you this question. I think if he ends up winning this game to go to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, now you're talking about Hall of Fame. I mean, if you look at his resume, statistically speaking.
Stafford, right?
Stafford.
Brinson was saying that before the season, right?
I don't. If he's a Hall of Famer, then Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer.
He won't have the Super Bowl, too.
But he has MVP. I mean, I'd rather have have an MVP.
You of all people would rather have an MVP. See, Pete's true colors just came out.
I'd rather have
Forget
the MVP.
championships.
Yeah.
He's what's good for me is
You're
good
darn
for me. I'm Pete
because
Prisco.
if I'm
I'd
the
rather have the
MVP,
MVP.
I did my job, and Kyle Shanahan in that season didn't do his job, which is why they don't have it.
Okay, do you think Aaron Rodgers would rather have the MVP, which he's going to get again in back-to-back years?
No,
or
he's
Super
had it
Bowl right
already.
now?
He's had it already.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah. No, Jimmy Garoppolo is better than people give him credit for.
100%.
But he's not a guy who's going to carry a team. Whereas if you get down 14, although they came back in that game, the last time they played at SoFi, they came back. They were down 17.
Miraculous comeback. Great drive.
And so Jimmy Garoppolo is capable of doing things. And you're right, Kyle Shanahan schemes things up and makes it easier for him. In a different system, would Jimmy Garoppolo be a better player? Probably not.
Well, what system? New England? Because he was pretty darn good. There's a reason why he's in San Francisco now.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't get the due he deserves, and he's not nearly as bad as the Twitter cult portrays.
Well, you're the one that said he wasn't great.
He's not great.
Well, I would say
I don't think Matt Stafford's great. I think he's very, very good.
He's better than good.
Huh?
I said Jimmy Garoppolo's better than good.
I would agree. I would agree. I think he's good.
You think he's good enough to lead the 49ers to victory?
Yes, I do.
That would be 2 Super Bowls in, what, 3 years for Jimmy Garoppolo?
And all they want to do is
Impressive.
replace him.
And they might still. So those are the picks from Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn. They differ on both games. So Brady entered
How many did we differ on last week?
all 4 of them. Yeah, you went 3-1. Pete went 1-3, right?
Yeah, he switched a couple.
Brady's one back.
I tried to.
But you do realize if
I'm
we
pushing
split,
all in
you
right
can't
now.
win.
I understand that.
Okay.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.